Good morning, beautiful people. Day 4 on the sharing transparently. Thank you to those that have been tuning in. It's a really peaceful day here by the river. Really cold and feels very still, although everything's moving. So if you saw yesterday's video, it was like looking at the addiction we have to like these survival emotions like fear and suffering, and thank you for sharing that, apathy as well. We can become addicted to apathy. And what's alive in me today? So I woke up and did a meditation. And one of the meditations that I do is one by a guy called Joe Dispenza. And it's like a guided meditation where first of all, he gets you doing this breathing practice. So you breathe in, squeeze the body, and breathe the breath into the head, into the forehead, into the top of the head. And then from that place, you go on a journey. And the one I was listening to is called Tuning into New Potential. So during that meditation, you're already aware of what the new potential is that you're calling in, and you focus on the gratitude and receivership of that already being with you. And if you know anything about Joe Dispenza, some people resonate with him, some people don't. And I went to a conference of his over a year ago, so for the last year I've been practicing with his meditations, and they are really, really, in my opinion, powerful if you do the research and read the book and watch the content that's out there and see what's actually happening with accessing the subconscious and how the brain works and so on. Super powerful. So I did that this morning and then got up. We had a call for the Retreat, for a beautiful couple that will be joining us, who are actually German but traveling around Asia, and they're going to come to Cambodia. And last night I spoke to a beautiful friend of mine, Philip, and we were just talking about how the dance between this sort of doubt that comes in and the voice of the perfectionist and the voice of I can't do it, or the competitive voice that's out there like looking at everybody else and going, they've done this, they've achieved this, they had this opportunity, who am I, what am I? And we had this like long conversation of sharing, which was really beautiful, dissecting and just looking and acknowledging where we are and what we've been doing and how we've been living. And then we got to this lovely moment where it's like you can't put humans in a box at the moment. You see that? Because everything's falling away, so there is no box to confine us or define us. Because so much is dissolving through this metamorphic transition. So, beliefs are falling away, dogmas falling away, indoctrines are falling away, religions falling away, monetary system falling away, governments falling away, everything that has been out there that's created some identity is falling away. So, and then at the same time, there's still expression wanting to take place in the form of art and music and conversation like this and sharing. And so it's sort of like I said yesterday on my talk, it's sort of a funky paradox in the sense that it seems, if you're looking out there, that everything's falling away and at the same time everything's staying the same. So I got another message from a beautiful friend of mine who lives in London, and he was like saying, I was in the city of London, of course, the dense frequencies of a city. And he's like looking around, he was like, wow, he was looking at all the consumerism and the madness that was going on in the city. And he was like, well, is anything really changed? Is anybody really waking up? Is that just all, spiritual woohoo? And what is all of this that you see around? And my response to him was that, wherever the frequency of density is and consumerism and addiction and unawareness, so there's many people don't even notice that there's a different way of viewing reality, or a different way of being, or awakening of any kind. And as I said yesterday as well, is that it happens in stages for people. So everyone's at their own different stage, and some are so consumed by the rat race, so consumed by society and the structures that have been put in place for years, for government and all the mind condition that's gone on with everything that we see in our society. That's deeply rooted in our subconscious. So that brings me to the meditation this morning is about really taking responsibility, the ability to respond, and use tools and practices that really change your energy, change your frequency, and pull you out of those old belief patterns and thought programs that are wired in us. Even when we think they're not, they're wired in us. So we have to look for them, go looking for them, uncover them. There's a description that Joe uses, which is like that film Lord of the Rings, where it's where Gandalf's on the bridge and he says, "You shall not pass." And he talks about it like when you're training a dog and you're getting a dog or a horse or whatever you're training to stay, where it goes stay, stay. And he's using that analogy in terms of how we have to be when we're rewiring ourselves, is that it doesn't just happen, instantly. You have to say to these old ways of thinking, old patterns of behavior, old habits of being ourselves, that you no longer want them. But the first few times you say that, it takes time. The rewiring can take time, and at the same time it can happen instantly. So so that's what's alive in me today. And whatever's going on out there for you, I've got it's constant confusion. Many messages that I get are struggling, suffering, challenged, don't know what my message is, don't know what my purpose is, so many mixed opinions, lost in the maze of information. And so this is really one of the reasons why we create Naked the Retreat, so we can come together and hang out in community and just listen to each other, and everybody share what's going on for them, and everybody just communicate what's alive for them, so that we can be in this supportive space that really allows for love and compassion and empathy and truth to come in, almost uninvited, and at the same time we create a space to allow it. And we come together and we meditate and we dance and we shake and we have fun and we laugh and we eat together, and we create the environment that supports growth. We create the environment that supports us to drop and be safe, to drop the personas, drop the masks, drop the controller, drop the needing to know, drop all of the stories we've told ourselves, and really just inquire and look from a broader perspective, a more neutral space. So, and that's what I pretty much do every day in order to really get the most out of this time here. Notice when I'm getting lost, notice when I'm getting pulled astray, notice when I'm falling into really old patterns of thinking, limited thinking or diminishing thoughts. And that's really what meditation helps me with. It helps me practice my awareness muscle. It helps me to concentrate and focus and become familiar with. Meditation in itself is about becoming familiar with. So it helps me to look at the way I've acted throughout the day, helps me to observe my words and my actions and my behaviors, and then ask myself if that is if that's the highest version of who and how I want to express myself. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Nice short one today. I really appreciate you all taking this journey with me. Please let me know if they're benefiting you in any way. And yeah, wherever you are, express yourself. You know, have the courageous conversation, you know, that you're not having. Call that person up in your life that you haven't spoken to for a long time, and share with them how you feel, or create a sharing. I will tell you all about a sharing practice that I do on one of these, or I'll write it up and put it in an article, so you can actually practice creating a nice safe space with people in your life that you can communicate authentically and transparently with. Okay, my hand's cold. Ciao. Thanks for listening.